So with that, thank you. And we had a little bit of table talk about Goblin Slayer and such. Let's get into our characters here with that quick little couple sentences about what your character's thinking about the current situation. It doesn't just have to be about what happened last week, but it's something in general. It all culminates to what we've just done, which is I think good for us to get into character, and especially if there's new folks here who might not be familiar. Hi, Rachie. Who might not be familiar with what's happening. It's a good recap for them. So why don't we start with let's start with Jade and what is going on in Jade's world.
Well, what isn't going on in Jade's world, I think, is the more accurate question.
She has a very busy schedule.
Well, that confusion between being a child, being some form of, well, tactician, and being a unicorn, and apparently being a musician.
Yes.
Who knew?
You played the harmonica really well next to a minotaur named DJ.
Yeah, I wasn't 100% sure on where that was going to go, but figured, why not? Why not? Apparently, I'd like to end up attributing that Jade is the founding member of death metal in the entire Gambit, and it all started with a cowbell, a drum set, and a harmonica.
Well,
I'll pay that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we trace rock and roll back to back to jazz or blues, then
blues and classical.
You were playing the blues there with that minotaur, and so you know what, Jade may very well be the grandmother of rock. And you didn't even have to very lewdly shimmy your hips.
Oh no.
Well,
we'll end up finding out later. But yeah, outside of that, Jade she's in a sense of confusion more than anything. Has to do with the drawback of her particular quirk when it comes down to her ability to shift forms. Because Jade has a tendency to lose herself. The biggest thing you need to remember is that ultimately, because of the way Jade views the world, she takes on other people's paths. So not only does she try and take on the personality to the best of her understanding, but she ultimately forgets who she is. And then in a very rapid form, she ended up going from herself to a child, Tiba, to a unicorn.
Yes. That was in very rapid fire succession, too.
Tibacorn, yes.
Yeah, so right now Jade is in this confused bit, scared, convinced everybody hates her, including the party. She's kind of just hit this antisocial bit. I'm hoping that she can wrestle out of it, but we'll find out on what's going on here, because ultimately, she's still trying to refine her purpose. She has a mission on mind, but can she get back on track, or is she even capable of it? Being a person who legitimately does not believe in something called agency.
Very well. Let's hop over then to actually let's go to Bright, and I want to do so because I will mention Coffee Cat made a very good sketch of a moment that was shared last week, and so let's go from Jade's perspective to Bright's as we continue going down the line here.
I don't know what to say, but yeah, I'm too. I'm still. I mean, I have to worry. I have to worry about everybody. I worry about Jade, and I worry about Tiba, and I worry about Mordecai, and I even worry about Norlai some. I don't really have to worry about Celine. She seems to be pretty well put together. But everybody else I have to worry about. And it's really stressful, but I'll manage. And I'm really hoping that the Flowerfields will come and give us their messenger today so that we can go find Tiba. I think they'll want to, because the longer we wait, the worse the worse the chances get. So hopefully they'll be here soon. But I don't know. And I think we all, especially me, have to take extra special care of Jade today just to see how she's doing. That's all.
All right. We'll let's pop over then to. Yeah, you know what, Celine, you were mentioned. You're mentioned as having your stuff together. Is this allegation true? The public demands an answer.
Oh my, no. I am as crazy as they come. I mean, no normal person would steep themselves in death as much as I do. Right now, I feel honestly rather guilty.
Oh.
I am responsible for Jade's current little crisis, and I did not mean for that to happen at all. And that's it weighs heavily on me.
Celine, I have to request, because I don't think people understand on how interesting. How exactly did you transform Jade into a unicorn?
Via the spell magic.
Why is that? Because it might be relevant in the near future.
Wild magic zone.
Yep. And it should be pointed out this whole time that your natural wild magic sorceress here has yet to actually like incur her own wild magic, but everyone else is getting in on her turf.
Just means no one can blame me. It's still Celine's fault.
Anything else to add, Celine? Otherwise, I guess we'll go pick on Norelai a little bit and pick her brain.
I simply hope that this entire debacle is over and done with soon, because there are other things that we could be doing right now.
That's true. I mean, you all had your own lives and plans when you boarded that ship to come down to Mesomasca, and well, that all turned into a very interesting series of events. Norelai, I mean, you were already in Mesomasca, and but yet your journey was also interrupted. Actually, if I recall correctly, your journey was interrupted in the Flowerfield area.
Things kind of happen.
But now you're here with these people, and what are your thoughts or feelings?
The Flowerfield guys, he doesn't seem very nice, but Tiba seems pretty nice, so I guess it's fine if we go. And I'm starting to get along with everyone a bit better. So there's that too. And Bright said we'll go look for my brother afterwards, so everything's good.
Yeah. Well, all the more reason to go find Tiba so you can then proceed on. And then let's go to our wandering bard, who has, I guess, fallen into sort of also you have a wandering anchor to which you are attached now. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not sure. But what's going on in Mordecai's mind?
To put it simply, probably an existential crisis. But at the same time, is feeling he's getting to know the party pretty well, and definitely kind of feeling like this needs to come to a very solid conclusion. I made a promise, and so just try to fulfill that promise.
All right then. We'll zoom in now. We've had this sort of side thought where we had left off. You were being put up in a penthouse suite of the Snam Phi Tumbled Wench here. 2 big rooms connected by an internal door. indoor plumbing. You could take hot baths, and that was explored. Which, by the way, any of you watching, make sure you go over to the side roleplay that's over on our Discord, and ooh, pardon me, sorry, I had some soda here. And catch up on that, because that's a chance to get a lot of extra thoughts and interactions between some of the different players here. It's a nice kind of side story that occurs, during / between our episodes. All right, so you do not yet have a notice. However, a gift was left for you, and inside were signet rings of the Flowerfield family, and as well as a couple things that your now patron of sorts thought might be useful in your search for Tibba once you were given some kind of a direction. When we pick up, you had a good night's sleep. It's a brand new day. There's no sort of notification that's waiting for you underneath your door. No one came knocking or is fetching you to a carriage. Seemingly, the day is yours.
Okay. I'm up pretty early because I have a lot of things to do this morning. So the first thing I want to do is go downstairs to see if there's breakfast.
There is.
Okay. Do they have carrots?
Oh, yes.
I'll take some carrots. And do they have, like, oat porridge?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Do they have any apples?
Yes, actually.
Okay. I'll get all of those things, and I'm going to take them out to Jade.
Oh, yes. Jade was in the stable.
Jade is in the stable. In fact, Jade has... She has gotten up semi-early-ish, and can be found sitting at the edge of the trough, grabbing handfuls of oats and just chewing on them.
Okay.
Jade, I think you should... Here, I brought you these from inside. I think you'll like them, and they'll be more appropriate for you. But it'll also be familiar. All your favorite things, probably. But...
Leans into the bowl of porridge, and Bright, I can only imagine like both hands are holding this up due to the height difference and what have you. So at this
also
point,
holding the apples and carrots in my mage hand.
I'm running with it. Yeah, sure, why not?
Why not?
So at this point, Jade's kind of leery, very leery of you right now. That's very apparent. But starts to kind of look over it and tries to bite at the apple. Not using hands, just.
I know. I'll hold it for you with the mage hand.
So thankfully you can't eat a mage hand. We can be grateful for these small things.
Owlbears can, but not you.
Give me time. But she'll follow wherever this food is at this point. What part of her brain still thinks is in human terms is still kind of realigning. At least she's got the muscle movement. The good news is she's, for the most part, walking on two legs.
Okay, that's good. I was afraid you were going to try to pull the carriage yesterday.
The stable boy will also give you a couple lumps of sugar, Bright.
Okay. I don't need them, but maybe.
Well, no, he tells you she really loves these sugar cubes. So.
Oh, I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, everybody loves sugar.
I
Jade.
can't wait to turn that around.
So I don't know if you want to stay out here, but the rest of us are inside, so you can come on in. I like this inside. Okay, I'll take that as a yes.
All right, so Jade is led from the stable inside the tumbled wench. There is in fact a breakfast for you all. Now you all are going to be informed by the morning manager here that if you do not find the continental breakfast for you here to your liking, they can make up some custom food for you and have it brought up to the penthouse, as that is part of the that'll be part of your package. So it's up to you. You can stay down in the public dining area and have some oatmeal and apples with the common folk, or you can ask for some sort of very delightful omelette au fromage. I mean, we'd say du fromage, but that's improper, despite what Dexter wants us to believe. But yeah, they can make something custom for you. It'll be up to you.
Actually, this is pretty much the right food for me too, so I think I'll just share with Jade.
Okay.
Hopefully it's not too noisy down here for me to study some spells too while I'm at it.
No, there's some general conversation going on, but there's nothing that's aggressive. Nothing that is... no one's discussing magical stuff, so even your own attention isn't like, what, that? Oh, what? It's... You could study.
Okay, good, because I thought I learned some spells yesterday, but it turns out they were the wrong ones. And one spell that I thought I had figured out, it turns out I wasn't doing it right, so it wouldn't have even worked. So I had to learn some other ones instead. So hopefully it'll all be better now.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hate to mispronounce a word in the middle of an incantation and just, suddenly Bright's a necromancer or something.
In a wild magic zone, you never know.
Well, all right.
Well, that's what, to be fair, that was necromancy in real world terms was a real form of divination. That's what its primary purpose was.
That's right.
And then it became its own thing. All right then. So we have our two roaming vegetarians downstairs at the at breakfast. Norelai, Mordecai, Celine. I know, Mordecai, you have special dietary needs.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go into town anyway.
Okay.
So.
Well, whilst I don't need to go into town, if there is custom order food available, that Celine says that she requires some chocolate croissants.
Yes, they can provide they can provide something very very sweet for you, some kind of like a sweetbread. And I'm not talking about that as the term for organs, like actually like a dessert sweetbread.
That is definitely, if Celine is just like, it's like, that is what I need for breakfast right now.
Hey, Celine's an adult. You can have ice cream for breakfast if you want. That's fine. And then Norelai?
I'm gonna order pancakes.
Oh.
Across
Now,
the syrup.
all right. I mean, you tell them you want a stack of pancakes, but you know you're going to eat two, and then you're just going to get tired of them. But that's fine. Such is as it is in the life of the rich and the famous of Snam Phi here. All right, so your mornings continue on here. Mordecai, you're going to go off to your own special cafeteria to fetch your own breakfast. Am I correct here?
I'm gonna go back to that butcher that I was talking to yesterday. See about getting my water skins refilled.
Okay. Mordecai, the others are, delightfully nibbling on apples and sugar cubes. Celine is just like, it just has these chocolate croissants. And Norelai is just absolutely just like a big stack of pancakes, like the butter's dripping down and maple syrup and just big sparkly eyes of like, I'm going to eat all of these. And
Mordecai is feeling really mad because he can't enjoy that kind of food anymore.
Now, Mordecai, when you reach the butchers, it would seem that the police of Snam Phi are here, and they're at the front door of the place, and they're talking to kind of a confused looking a confused looking shopkeeper. There's not really a big crowd. I mean, you're up early-ish in the morning, but really a lot of the early morning shoppers might have gone for like the fresh baked bread and all this. No one's really lined up at this point for meat. How would you like to intersect with this encounter?
Can I overhear their conversation as I walk up?
Sure. What's your passive perception?
14.
Okay, yeah, there's not a lot of other competing sounds. Just looking ahead, you can't really hear maybe something about a break-in. But the butcher is just sort of, he's not fuming and like, he's not making loud noises. He just seems like he's scratching his head and is just sort of confused as he's talking with the police.
Okay, so I'll slowly approach.
Okay. No one's stopping you. You can just go. Are you just gonna go up and
I just
interact, or hands in your pockets, whistling as you pass by?
My hood up because sunlight. But
well, yeah. Sir, are you aware you're sparkling? All right. All right. So you're approaching, and the butcher looks past the policeman and even like to the police. Just one moment, sir. If you're here, well, go ahead and come in. Don't mind what's happening here. We're still open for business, and I should still be able to help you. Just a bit of a conundrum is all. We're trying to figure something out here. Come in. And in fact, you gentlemen, and he turns to the police, please, why don't you come in as well? In fact, it's not that you don't believe me, but you really should just see it for yourself. And so the two police walk in, and Mordecai, you're invited to come into the butcher's as well.
I walk in.
All right. If there was a robbery or something, it wasn't up front. It looks like the cash register, or the equivalent of it, is still there. The cash box, none of the crates or anything have been destroyed or smashed. The shelves with different provisions or the like, they haven't been plundered. And he tells you, the butcher tells you, Mordecai, browse if there's something that you'd like. I should be able to fill all the bins. In fact, that's a bit of the problem, is I can overfill all my bins currently. I wasn't quite expecting this. So while you shop, I need to show these gentlemen to the back. And again, please don't worry. I need to figure something out about my store. It might have just been a simple miscommunication between me and my evening clerk. And the three of them are
going on.
As you ask, and he just says, just one moment, I want to make sure I know myself. Just please, compare prices. I can make any cut you want, and I will be back. And the three of them go to the back. There's not really a door. It's kind of like a curtain that they slide past, and
I want to sneak over towards the door and see if I can overhear the conversation.
Sure. Go ahead and roll a stealth.
22.
Nice. All right.
Stealth.
So yeah, you just sort of like doop 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 doop. You're like Sly Cooper, doop 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 doop, and you make your way around. The curtain doesn't make a creak on any hinges as you open it up, and you're leaning in close. Go ahead and make a perception at advantage, because you are in a prime position for overhearing what's going on.
16.
All right. Mordecai, you perk your ear up, and from the conversation the butcher is having with the police, it seems like someone brought in one of the cattle that was going to be butchered, but not yet, and broke into the butcher and ended up stringing it up and butchering it. but there's what's really odd is that there's hardly any blood. Like, there was nothing in buckets. There was no fresh blood that had poured down the drain in the slaughtering room. But someone broke into the butcher's with one of the cows that were alive just a day before, and now it's here, gutted and ready to go on a hook.
At least they had the courtesy of butchering the animal already.
Let's
Not
see.
leaving it to waste.
And so the police are looking this over and saying, I guess that's good. I'm sorry, sir, that someone broke into your business, but it seems like perhaps one of your own employees would have done this. And they're examining the hanging carcass, and the butcher's kind of riled up, and because the police apparently, with the role that I made for such knowledges, have no idea, just what is happening here. He seems kind of flustered. He says, "This wouldn't have been the work of my stock boy. Look at this." And he goes and he look at this cut, this big ragged cut. You don't cut meat like that. That wasn't done with the precision of a knife. That was just some cleaver just hewn right into the side of the thing. I mean, whoever did this, I guess I should be appreciative, but there's just no way that this would have been someone of my training and employment. And the police are like, whoa, okay, hey, we're on your side. Not that we want a murder in Snam 5, but we're kind of expecting a murder and not a convenience. A convenience? The butcher is now starting to raise his voice up. Oh, just look around or something. I have a customer up in the front, and you start hearing as he's walking.
Quickly go back around there.
Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, go back around. Oh yeah, the prices of meat is good today. And he kind of comes out a little flustered, has pulls a rag out, dabs his forehead. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. It's a bit of a day. Did you decide what you'd like?
Same as yesterday. Do you recall what I ordered yesterday?
Oh, right. I actually might have some. It's not going to be as fresh. I was actually expecting. Some fresh blood here for you. Unfortunately, that seems to be part of the problem. It's gone. So I'll.
What do you mean gone?
Well, I don't have fresh blood for you. I have a little bit that I set aside. It was kind of out of the way. It looks like no one got to it, but I was gonna have something fresh here, and the problem is one of my butchered cows wasn't supposed to be, and it's missing almost all of its blood. The cuts of meat are still good, I assure you. So it's really you could really just sink your teeth into a nice juicy steak if you'd like, but for that extra kick of protein, I'm afraid I can't really offer anything more than kind of this day old.
That should suffice.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. 1 copper for the inconvenience. I'm very sorry. And you get, he tells you, well.
Is there enough to fill 2?
Yes, there is.
Okay. Perfect.
And so with a little bit of effort, because this is day old blood, so it's yours has pulp. Go ahead.
You just gotta mix it around a bit.
Yeah.
That's all.
To shake well before drinking.
Yeah. He fills up 2 water skins for 1 copper for you with some blood with pulp, extra pulp.
I don't mean to overhear or eavesdrop or anything, but is there anything that I could do to help?
I don't think so. I mean, look, something happened. I should be more upset than I am, and you know what? If I raise my voice in the back, I'm sorry. That's not a good business practice, especially for someone who's known for wielding knives his whole life. It's just aggravating. I had a cow that I was going to be slaughtering this morning, and when I walked into my store, it already was. It wasn't the best job, but it's strung up and it's gutted, and I guess I'm gonna have to practice my trade and make the best, the best cuts of meat I can out of it.
Because I want to go take a look. Do you mind? Do you mind if I go take a look?
Why? Do you want to cut a meat or something?
Curiosity.
Looks back over his shoulder, kind of peels back the curtain. I better let them finish examining first. I don't think they know what they're really talking about, but I gotta have something on file with the police here. Who knows?
If you don't suspect that they're gonna find anything, would you like another pair of eyes?
Oh, are you a butcher by trade?
No.
Oh, are you a doctor? Do you know anatomy?
I lost the game.
I'm good at putting things together.
He's hemming and hawing. If you would like to be a little bit more convincing, I will allow you the opportunity to do so.
Not entirely sure how convincing I can be.
Well, I mean, you could always mention that you know a doctor and that she's been teaching you some things.
The meta pigeon. Woohoo!
If you'd like to make you could do that if you wish. If you want to make a persuasion here and now, and see if you can influence the butcher.
Camera.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a persuasion check, just to see if he'll bite.
Okay.
17.
You make your case. He looks back, and especially with how dismally those the police officers were handling, he's like, "Really? What does it matter? Sure, come back and maybe you can even tell them something. I've sold steaks to them, but I don't even think they could determine where on the cow it comes from."
That's terribly sad.
He looks around, kind of walks over to the front door, locks it, turns the sign back to closed. All right, go ahead and come back. If nothing else, I'll just say that you're here to pick out your own cut of meat.
Fair enough.
All right, so he knocks on the curtain to make sure the police know that you're coming in, and you two come back here. The police look around, look at you. Like, what are you here for? And the butcher will cover for you. Sure enough, here's a carcass that is hooked to the ceiling. What would you like to do to interact with it?
Just kind of, because he said that it. Did he say that it had like gash marks on it? Like
yeah.
It was not improperly cut or something?
Yeah.
What kind of slashes do they look like? Like, are they huge? Are they small?
Tell you what. I don't know if this would invoke your background skill. But otherwise, you can make an intelligence check, or I'm open-minded if there's another type of check, skill that you would like to run in order to examine the body here. I mean, medicine could work, but if this is something different, or you want to approach it from a more creative standpoint, then
I was just gonna try investigation.
Investigation? Sure, go ahead and roll investigation.
It's the same as my intelligence check, so.
Okay.
13.
Well, I mean, someone did the job. It's not a nice, clean cut. But there's nothing that's really coming to mind. I mean, you being back here though, you're not sweating, but you know you kind of have that little anime sweat coming down because there's carcasses. You know, not all the blood was drained. There is still some, and you know the occasional little plip plip of little blood drops as they'll leak onto the floor. So I mean, you haven't had breakfast yet, but so you're getting a little bit of an itch. But you're not anywhere close to feeling like hey, I have 3 people trapped in a room with a drain. I'm the drain, by the way.
Yeah. But it doesn't look like was made with like a cleaver's knife or something bigger or
something. It's a ragged cut. Sorry, what? I guess that'd be a laceration in proper medical terms.
Right. So not a really sharp blade, but something.
Correct.
Cut it. Okay. Yeah, it definitely. Trying to think of where to go from there. I just kind of let the police officers know that this definitely was not made with a precision tool. If they were being clueless about it.
After it's been pointed out to them, they seem to observe that, and on their own, let's see. It looks like they're coming to about the same conclusions you are. They can't really tell much about what's happening on the scene. They're making notes because they say, well, you know what? I bet if we go talk to we go talk to Jim down at the station. He does a lot of hunting. Maybe if he looks at our notes, he can make some sort of a conclusion based off of it.
Sorry, I couldn't be more help.
The butcher looks to you and says, "It is what it is. This is the oddest thing that's happened to me in all my years of business, but it's not the worst. It's just weird. But I'll tell you,
it's extremely odd.
For a man who makes his living by slaughtering, weird can be really unsettling."
Fair enough. Well, if there's nothing else that I can help you out with here, then I suppose I'll be going.
Just turn the sign to open on your way out is all I ask.
Good day.
And he gives you a curt nod, and you can make your way out of the butcher's.
I do.
Do you turn his sign?
Yes.
Okay, good. Karma plus 1. Yeah. You just sneak out of there with twiddling your mustache. Aha! I'm truly a villain. I didn't turn his sign to open, as politely requested. Yeah.
I'm not that much of a scamp. Other than that, for going into town, I'm just going to be looking for for ingredients for a spell that I was working on.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't have anything else I'm doing.
Okay. Those ingredients will be available to you, unless anything has changed since. Okay, then it's going to take you a while in the marketplace. And hey, while you're in the market, if you want to keep an ear open in case there are any other juicy rumors, you may do so.
Oh yeah.
But let's. I'll tell you what. Give me.
I'll be even trying to stir juicy rumors.
Oh my!
See if I can ask questions
through deception. Are you making up juicy rumors, or are you just exaggerating what's already known? All right, you want to do this
maybe
through
maybe a little bit of exaggeration of what's already known, or just kind of ask questions about the existing things that were going on.
Okay.
Maybe at some point make it to the police station to see if there was any more developments on that route thing.
If you want to exaggerate, I'll ask for a performance. That way you're like, and she said what? or you could twirl your mustache and go, yes, I heard that Mrs. Johnson uses whatever, slightly unripened apples for her prize pie, and all the ladies in the marketplace are gonna gasp because she clearly stole that first place prize.
Yep.
So
Performance?
Yep.
16.
Okay, so you go out and it's you have a decent time in the marketplace. You can overreact. You're playing up different thises and that's, and then what we'll do is when I have you combined with everyone else, I can go over some of the stuff you've picked up that I would presume you're going to share with the others. That way we're not sort of being redundant with time and information. But everyone in the marketplace is just sort of like, I know, right? And you're like, I know, right? Yeah, I know, right? And it builds and builds and builds, and you're even getting your tail in, because not only can you go like this, then you have your tail also going like this as well, and or you could simultaneously just sort of flip your hair back and do that that come on twirl with your tail too. So very expressive. And the people are kind of, they're happy to talk to you. Okay, so several hours have passed. Breakfast time has rolled over. Bright, you've had plenty of time to study and sketch in your book. Jade, you've had plenty of time to eat and think and do other Jade-like things. Celine, you are... I mean, if you're still in bed just with, the crumbs of chocolate cakes and croissants, then that's fine.
Well,
Shay's lounge.
Well, after an hour or two, because Celine wouldn't have taken that long to eat. After an hour or two, Celine does get a little concerned because she did know that Mordecai went off into town to get breakfast, but he shouldn't have taken this long.
Okay.
So she wants to head out to look for him.
Sure.
Just to make sure that he's okay, because, I mean, with everything going on, you can't be too careful.
Okay, so you get your mask for going out in public, you have your robes, and you set out into the marketplace. Norlai, go ahead and give me a con save also.
Yeah, sorry, someone texted me.
It's fine.
Alright, con save.
Wow.
Very good.
Norlai actually ate all the pancakes with the syrup. You can enjoy that feeling of being stuffed full of bread and a simultaneous sugar rush.
She is currently downing the pancakes and literally has a jug full of maple syrup that she's just chasing it with at this point. She doesn't need syrup on the pancakes. That's the chaser.
Oh, gee.
That's impressive.
It's like the opening of Super Troopers here. All right, well. You know what, Norlai? You defied all odds and convention, and you managed to eat all the pancakes you ordered, and all the butter and syrup and everything. And you're swollen with sugar right now. Yeah, I mean, you're just a nest of carbohydrates. What are those? We're in Get Ye Flask times.
Oh, I know what ye old carbohydrate is.
All right, so Celine, you're heading out. It's with Mordecai's performance in the marketplace. It's not going to be too difficult to find him, especially, look, it was pretty obvious where he was going to go in the morning to get his breakfast. The shop was open, and you did. There was as you were approaching, sign was open. The butcher seems to be, he's putting everything out as if nothing has really happened. So, I mean, without using meta knowledge, the butcher wouldn't be putting out some sort of a grumble like, oh, no. So,
no, she'll go to the butcher. She'll probably ask him if, he's seen Mordecai. It's just like, bluish tiefling, yayish tall.
No, bluish, that's an understatement. You should have seen him. There's nothing ish about him. But yeah, he was here earlier. Came by and made a special purchase. Left a while ago. Sorry, I'm a bit frazzled. Had a bit of a morning. In fact, he was my first customer, so it was really nice to Really nice start to the day here. But yeah, he took off a while ago. He turned right out of here, probably heading to the marketplace proper.
Oh, thank you, but you, you said that you've had quite the morning? How so?
Business stuff. I don't know, ma'am, if you know what it's like. I don't know if you run a business, but it's one thing after another, you know.
I do not run a business, but I do get it.
Well, thank you. I don't suppose you're here to purchase a cut of meat, are you?
No, I was just looking for my tiefling friend.
I'm running a sale.
I might come back a bit later in the day and purchase some meat. However, depending on, we are waiting on a summons, and if we have to go on the road, well, then I will need to pick up food.
Yes, yeah, please do. I'll be happy. I can't go much lower for my prices because everything's got to go here today. But yeah.
Oh, that is fine. You see, your prices seem fair enough to me. So.
Thank you. Make sure you spread the word if you're going to the marketplace.
I'll make sure to. And with that, she will bow and head to the marketplace to try and find Mordecai.
Okay. Finding Mordecai. You're walking up and there's some people around him, and you're like, I know, right? And he says, I know, right? And Mordecai is very, he's ultra blue, and is standing out there in the market.
Celine will go over to Mordecai and will be like, there you are.
You know I was going into the market today. Or did I not say that? Yes. I don't remember.
No, well, you did say that you were going to get breakfast. You'd been gone a little while, and I was just a little concerned, is all. You know, with everything these days, can't be too careful and whatnot. And this is when Celine will turn around and be like, and as for your friends here, I would suggest taking a trip over to the butcher today. Everything he has must go, and he's charging some pretty fair prices.
Turned into a walking advertisement.
It's like,
completely.
No, he just said that he was having a bad day, and I thought I might be able to do something to cheer him up.
Alright. I don't know what you're so concerned about.
No, he just said that he was having a bad day.
No, I meant about me.
Oh, about you. As I said, it was just a precaution. Because as I said, you know, with everything these days, you can't be too careful.
Can I go back about my business?
You can, but before that, you were the butcher's first customer, and
yeah.
he said he was frazzled about business things.
Yeah. What about it?
You didn't do anything, did you?
No.
Nothing happened.
God no.
I just thought I was.
Suddenly, a couple of the ladies that were talking to you were like, "Oh, you're busy."
The worst of you, Mordecai. I was simply curious.
And they stop and they stop and they sort of turn as this is now kind of escalating into an accusation, a quasi-accusation of some kind. And they seem to like, "Oh, my boots need lacing," and they're just sort of like leaning in as they're like kind of bending over and keeping an ear towards you and Celine, as you know, something happened at the butcher, and of course all the biddies in the market gotta know.
It's like, no, nothing. No, it's like, no insinuation. I was just curious. That's all.
He just gives you a look. Okay. Are you wanting to join me then?
Sure, why not? Today's a lovely day.
All right.
Just don't get in the way.
Celine gives him a side glance from under her mask, and kind of leans over and whispers in his ear very, very quietly. It's just like, they call me the High Priestess of Lies. I won't be getting in your way at all.
I want to see that at work, actually.
To be fair, I now have proficiency in the only charisma skill that I don't have proficiency in now is performance. But you've got that covered. Everything else has proficiency in it, thanks to skill. So.
All right, so the tag team of Mordecai and Celine here have been unleashed on the marketplace, and we'll have to see what happens because of that. Your hours are going to roll on, and we're now into the afternoon. For those of you who are still at the Tumbled Wench, there is also still no missive or directive or summons. So far, it's been a quiet day.
I see. Oh, interesting.
So Norlai, Jade Bright, you actually are seemingly having a day of just rest and luxury to yourselves. Feels weird after so long.
No, that can't be right.
I'm sure it's nice to just relax and have a day, but it's also not very constructive. I feel like we should make ourselves more useful.
You guys should try the pancakes. They're really good.
I already ate, but thank you. Maybe I'll have pancakes next time. I don't want a food coma.
But they're so good.
Yes, the level of heaviness that pancakes are can definitely take one out for a day.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
So
Tanking the pancakes like. Because that's what it feels like. It's like tanking the pancakes be like.
Right.
Then,
I haven't
right. What would you like to do to make yourself useful?
I haven't gotten any visits from the metagaming pigeon, so I don't know what's going on, what happened with Mordecai and Celine. So, but I think we should do our own investigation, our own little quiet investigation, because we know the vampires are here in town, and we're gonna have to. Anybody have any way? Maybe find them, because we kind of just went right from following their trail into going and talking to the Flowerfields. But maybe there's something we could do.
We should get one of those
Before they talk to
flowers
us.
and point it at people and see if it changes color.
That's a good idea. Do you know where to?
One of the
Yeah,
things
that's
we
pretty
could do.
easy. We can just find one, and maybe we can pick for one from somebody's porch or something. We could just go get a pot and keep a little piece of it in the pot.
If that's what you wish to do, you can go flower hunting.
Let's do
It's your
that.
best, so I think you should carry the flower
Let me
pot.
just save you the effort.
Oh,
Oh! Oh,
Do you
okay.
have the- Do you have the component for that?
a focus.
We're right, because even warlocks still require the component, or even if, her focus wouldn't be through. Yeah, so
Yeah.
no, apparently not. And we haven't received any form of, or Jade hasn't received any form of gold, so no, okay, that's scrapped, never mind.
But
Going back
so-
to useless.
No,
We
it's
don't have
okay.
that
You
much
can go
in our
shopping.
gold.
We have the party gold. I mean, that's a
You
good
have the
spell.
photo.
We could go and find one that's like that. I only have 4 gold. So
Party gold is 77, by the way.
a little short.
I have 3 gold.
I have
Oh.
nothing.
It's alright. We'll try it. We'll try and get the component for you at some point. But no,
Unfortunately, looking into a bowl of oatmeal is just not the best for trying to, divine information and see things clearly. You'll have to find some sort of a thinner liquid than oatmeal for that, I guess. Still, though, Jade, what we can do is sort of role play up, because you have these other aspects to it. This could be a part of your mind opening up, or this is something that you can still role play into. It's just that it doesn't fully manifest, as not everything for the clairvoyance spell is currently available. But maybe something just sort of clicked and turned on in your brain to open you up to this style of vision. And so now that you have a hole in your mind, you need to find the thing that'll fit in the hole and then complete it, and then you'll be able to use it. Like you have the keyhole. This is Ghostbusters.
Moving on. Moving on.
Okay.
Are you the keymaster? All right, so Norlai and Bright want to go out to hunt flowers. Now, is Jade? Are you going to go with them as well?
Following the apple.
Okay. I'll bring a few apples with extra apples.
Okay. Sure enough. Going out and let's see, to run some basic experiments.
And do they have a banana? Because I've really wanted a banana for a couple of days.
Let's see. I'll give it to you on a 19 or 20. No, unfortunately not.
So no bananas.
No.
Okay. I mean, bananas are pretty common back in the, but you just don't find.
Mordecai might have been looking for one based on their conversation.
It's possible. Okay, never mind. I can do without it.
Okay. Heading out into town and off of Norlai's idea, Bright, you can devise kind of a detection or experiment. You can roll. I'll Arcana or Investigation at advantage, because you have different knowledges and means to perform these experiments and these acquisitions.
Okay.
Okay. So 16. You and Norlai do find a young plant outside of someone's house, and it does start snapping at you, Bright, and it does turn a very lovely violet here, though it is consistent in so much that it doesn't seem to acknowledge or detect Norlai.
I'm just gonna pick up its pop.
Okay. You can do so. There's some people out on the street, so if you don't want to be possibly caught stealing someone's plant, you're going to need to be sneaky. Otherwise, if you don't really care and you just want to pick it up, it's there. It's not chained to anything.
Can I roll sleight of hand to just
grab
it? Yes.
Ooh.
Wow. Solid 21. Okay.
It's a solid roll.
Yeah, geez. This is Norlai's session here, I guess. Norlai, so you bend over and you're pretending to admire the flower. Someone walks past and, just is looking at you two, and probably doesn't recognize you from this neighborhood. And you're like, and you're sort of like inhaling, and then you kind of like scoop the little plant and put it in your pocket, and then, woo 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 woo. And you have this plant now in your pocket. It has some dirt on it, like clumped up in its roots. It's still alive. It does react to Bright. You still kind of pull it out like, "Hey, Bright, look what I have!" And she kind of jumps back real quick as it tries to bite her nose.
We should have brought something to put it in. The pot was.
No, it's okay. Please don't.
I got the flower there. That's the important.
Okay.
Having spent some time walking around, and it's been difficult to find. It seems like a lot of these plants, they don't seem as prodigious as they were, at least up the avenue you went. But then again, it seemed like something happened the other night that caused a lot of plant destruction.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that, but it could be that the vampires that are coming into town are killing the plants so that the plants don't reveal them.
That's not very nice. These are...
Oh, that's the sort of thing vampires would do, though.
Yeah, but vampires kind of... Whatever.
Okay. So, did we have any ideas other than to just go around town and see if the plant radar would find someone?
No, that was as far as I went. I
Okay.
was just thinking the flower we would take around town and point at people. We'll probably not point it because then they'll see, but just see if it reacts to anyone.
Yeah. So I was thinking that since they're vampires, they're probably going to need to find some blood, and so if they haven't killed any people, they're probably going to the butcher shops. So we should probably try there first and see if we can maybe encounter them.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay. So Norlai's holding is holding a plant. Bright's holding an apple, and the apple is holding Jade's attention. And just in this little chain, I mean, Bright, you're really just sort of like a fishing pole and a string away from just sort of You march your way over to the butcher shop. It's afternoon now. It does seem kind of busy. There's several people in here, and the butcher, he's been butching. He has blood and bits on his apron. Looks like he's been working kind of hard. People are like, oh, the prices today. He's having a big sale, and you go inside, and it looks like the bins are starting to empty out here. And he tells you, I'll be with you in a moment. Hold on. And he's making transactions, ringing things up, handing meat over, taking coins. Obviously, plastic gloves haven't been invented yet. So this is a tremendous violation of all health codes and practices. But
it's
then
okay,
again,
the health codes haven't been invented yet.
Exactly. So no laws are being broken. This is completely legal and ethical. Abiding by all currently known business practices, he is in the right. And, you wait around. Again, there's a lot of people in here who are getting fresh cuts of meat. And finally, it's your turn. He says, all right, you three, come on over. Come on. What can I get you? It looks like we're starting to sell out. Thank goodness.
So we're actually just here, not actually customers. So if there's somebody who needs to buy things, they can go ahead of us. But we're hoping we can help you looking for someone.
Whoa. Well,
So,
what kind of help? If you're not here to buy.
well, so we're thinking that someone might have come by here, for blood. If it was like there's kind of like a new cult that's going around, and they're drinking a lot of blood, and we're kind of investigating the cult. So we
I don't think
know some of them. Some of them
you
are our
say.
friends.
Workout team. They all want to be buff.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like a cult. I mean, have you talked to those guys?
Yeah, a cult. Oh, what have I been doing? Yeah, one of those cult members came here this morning. In fact, I even took him to the back of my store. I mean, there was police present. Maybe that's why. Nothing happened.
Look like?
Oh, you can't miss him. Tiefling, blue as the sky and the sea and everything
no.
else.
He's okay. He's with us.
Oh no, he drinks blood. You said there's a cult?
But
Yeah, it's not really a cult. They just all want to be buff, and they're kind of fanatic about it. It's more of a fan club.
Oh, it's one of those people. They go on a special diet and they tell everyone about it.
Yeah.
It's like those. You know what? It's like those darned vegetarian. Now, I mean, he didn't say anything about you, Bright, but those darned vegetarians. They come in here, they don't eat meat, thinking that they're all high and mighty, with their noses in the air. Oh, jeez, I can't stand those people.
Oh. Okay. Well, it's okay. My nose is closer to the ground than theirs. Really in the air.
Oh! You're a... Ma'am, I'm very sorry. I meant no offense to your culture.
No, it's fine. Most first gnomes are. So, just so you know. I mean, I know there's not very many in Mazamaska. So, but if somebody else comes in, which they probably wouldn't, because they usually would only come in here if they had a reason to buy meat, which they usually wouldn't. So it may not come up again. But if you do happen to run into forest gnomes, most of them are vegetarians.
No, I'll have to remember that. Yeah, we don't get many of your kind around here. Wait, that wasn't insulting saying you're kind, right? No?
It's fine.
All right. Thank you.
So anyway, so you saw our blue friend, but was there anybody else who was looking for blood?
Can't say
Or
so.
anything
I don't have any really to sell. I sold the last of it this morning to your friend. Yeah, it I don't have any fresh stuff here for you.
I mean, you've been selling a lot of meat today, so wouldn't you have had a lot of blood?
Normally, yeah, but it's just, you know what? A lot was lost in the butchering process, and what can I say? Apparently, I'm gonna have to charge more for blood if there's such a demand, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Not a very good idea. There's a lot of people around here who would want it. So.
well, thank you very much. Do you mind if we come back if we have something else?
Like business?
Or other questions?
Oh, he seems kind of disappointed now. I suppose I'll do my best to answer him, but honestly, I'm going to be getting gone here. I'm almost sold out of meat for the day.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Thank you very much. You've been a lot of help.
Hey, no problem. And you know what? He comes around the counter and he says, "I'm sorry for the misunderstanding here. I'll tell you what. He looks over in one of his bins, and he just grabs sort of like the first slice of meat that he sees, and he just sort of like throws it into sort of like a cheesecloth, and he hands it to you right there. Here, take one on the house. It's the least I could do. You know, it's the little things. I should probably just stop talking."
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Lorelai, do you want this?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Bright, you have a little bit of a stain on you.
Where?
Where he kind of handed you the meat wrapped in cheesecloth.
Oh, that's okay. I'll take care of that in just a little bit.
Okay.
So, I'd like to go outside with... Does this guy seem fishy to you?
Well, Herbert didn't find anything, so.
Oh, well, so here's the thing. The amount of blood is not adding up. Because, I mean, look at all this meat he's been selling. And I know Mordecai doesn't drink that much blood. So, there's a lot of blood that's not accounted for. And that means that he's talking about losing it in the butchering process, but then in that case there'd be blood all over the floor and it would just be everywhere and it would be all ooky. And it wasn't ooky. So something must have happened to all that blood. And so since Mordecai probably didn't drink it all, either he's protecting the vampires or they must have taken the blood while he wasn't looking. But somehow I'm pretty sure that this place is involved and he's not telling us the truth. Whether he knows the truth or not, I don't know.
Well, we can take the plant around and see if he finds anything.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
So I just kind of like scout out the.
Oh, before we do that, I would like to conjure up Piggy Sue. Could you go over and take a quick look at that plant and see if it changes colors when you come over to it?
Right. And so it kind of flops over towards the plant, and the plant doesn't seem to recognize it.
Really? Oh, that's weird.
That's
I thought it would turn blue. Okay, well, hop on back.
Wait, hang on. Oh, it is a
Fey creature.
What? Yeah,
Creature.
yeah. That's the type that you assigned it. Then yes, it will turn blue, and it'll try and
Okay.
snap at Peggy Sue.
Okay,
Herbert.
well, hopefully she doesn't get too close. Why did you name the plant Herbert?
Well, because well, I'm not good at identifying plants, but herb is a type of plant, and you don't pronounce the H normally, but if you pronounce it, it says herb, and then Herbert is a nice name.
Okay, that's a really good name. I like the way you came up with that. Okay, so I guess we'll just follow you as you wave your plant around.
All right. So you're going to be going through the marketplace, and so the three of you are going to be making your way through as Mordecai and Celine find their way back at the Tumbled Wench, ready to rest after being in the marketplace, walking around, catching rumors, making rumors, exaggerating rumors, and the like. So Mordecai and Celine, you two get back. You know, the sun was getting a little harsher a couple times where you were kind of sparkling through some points that were just kind of sort of getting a contact buzz of sun. But fortunately, Celine was able to kind of step up and help here.
Hey, I covered it.
Direct sunlight.
And it seems that your friends are not in the penthouse, nor the
They
stable.
must have gone out.
Must have.
Now, I am concerned about something, Mordecai.
What's that?
Just your reaction when I was talking about the butcher earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Was rather defensive.
Defensive?
Yes, defensive. Now, I am not accusing you of saying that you have done anything. Just as a preface to this. But did something happen at the butcher's this morning?
Well, I didn't necessarily have the proper, I don't know, outlet to really talk about that at the moment. I was talking about something else with the ladies, but he did say that when he opened up the shop that morning, today, whatever wordage, when he opened up the shop today, he opened it up to find that the one of the carcasses that he had, I guess, only just realized was in his shop was already drained of blood and ready to butcher. It had some really, it had gash marks in it that weren't exactly the most precise. I don't know. I kind of expect a sharper weapon to go in for butchering.
Quite. We need to go back to the butcher.
What for?
Well, I have surgery expertise. I know what cuts things make. So I might be able to identify what created these gashes.
Certainly didn't look precise. It certainly didn't look like...
Well, that does cut out a lot of things for me, but it also keeps a lot of things remaining as possible options. And I would rather that we have all of our options on the table, because...
It being this late in the day, he might have already butchered the thing.
I will ask. It can't hurt to ask.
Couldn't hurt. I mean, I'm terrible at investigating. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well then, shall we go together then?
Sure. Lead the way. And if I seem defensive, that wasn't my fault. That wasn't my intent anyway. I was in the middle of something?
No, that is fair. It is fair.
All right, so we have Celine and Mordecai now having spent a little bit of time back in the Tumbled Wench, heading back out to the butcher shop, and we'll abbreviate the encounter slightly as we have two parties who are not in the same place at the same time, as each are kind of constantly on the move. So.
As happens during an investigative phase.
It does. I'm not complaining. I just want to make sure that we can eventually get you all together again in order to in order to start comparing some notes here. But I am enjoying that the kind of the loop around that each of the parties is making, right, hot on the heels of each other in some sort of like investigative Ouroboros here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're going to the place where we already are, so we could totally bump into each other. It could totally be a thing.
Like one party's like, hey, have you seen someone blue? Yeah, really blue, kind of suspicious. The other party's like, have you seen someone like really short and pink? Yeah, she was looking around for someone like you that was really blue, was really suspicious. And he's just woo 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 going around.
Is there only the one butcher shop in town, by the way?
I think feasibly no, but let's just roll with that. It is the only major butcher shop that is in Snamfi. So we'll have to suspend some disbelief that a town the size of Snamfi would, probably have. Like, this is probably like the biggest, the butcher, the name brand in town here.
Yeah.
But we'll just presume that if I'm telling you that, none of the other butchers are having the problems that you're alluding to in your investigation, if the main one doesn't, the side ones probably don't either, because the butchers probably all kind of get together and collude on this and that.
Yeah.
There's a butcher's guild.
So, yeah, but something along those lines. So what we'll do is, so you head back out, and you're walking there, and sure enough, the butcher shop says closed. Thank you for your business. And it's only like mid-afternoon too. But he's sold out, and
Celine is going to knock on the door.
okay. Wow, look at all those 20s I'm rolling. Why aren't we in combat? I mean, true intentions revealed. Hey, you all are leveled up. I need to make sure that I give you a little bit of a, a little bit of a shake up here to have you flex your new powers.
Just don't hit us for 27 HP again. It's fine.
Look. You know what, Celine, the some sort of fortune, or maybe if you consider this a blessing from Weejas herself, or Weejas, sure enough, you knock on the door, and there's the butcher you met earlier. He's covered in meat juices and whatever. So he's had quite a day. But he comes up and he's sort of looking at you through there's a little bit of glass in the door. We'll say he's doing really well for himself, so he can afford it. He kind of looks through and opens. Oh, it's you again. I'm sorry, but we're completely sold out. Let's hold the door open.
That is fine. I did drop a little advertisement for you in the middle of the market today. So that is fine. I hope the business went well for you.
Oh yeah, I completely sold out. I have to say thank you.
Tell me,
yes?
That cow that you found this morning, have you butchered it yet?
Oh yeah, just it's all gone. It's being made into people's dinners tonight. That's what I'm completely sold out of meat.
Let me see. So, as I said, I brought my tiefling friend with me, and he said that you found it this morning, ready to butcher, and you hadn't done it.
Whoa! Hey now, hey, what are you talking about? That's crazy talk. I wouldn't want people on the street to hear you talking crazy about my business.
It's like, may I come in?
I go in front of her.
Closes the door. What are you saying? You can't let people on the street over here. Weird stuff is happening at the butcher's shop. We have a reputation to maintain.
It's like, calm down. I'm just thinking that me and my expertise might be able to help you with this little problem.
What's your expertise?
I am a surgeon.
Oh, we're kind of the opposite.
Oh, no. But no, it's like I have expertise as a surgeon. So, as far as I was told, you came in this morning to find this cow cut up, ready to be butchered, rather roughly hewn.
Yeah, there was something
And very
suspicious
little-
that happened,
Very
but
little blood.
yeah, I can't figure out what happened, but you know what? I took kind of a break even on the day, but I completely sold out even of my other stuff. I was able to sell some of that meat at a loss, or you know, at a break even, but it sold everything else. So I guess it's been a good day. You know, mixed blessings and all that.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Now, what I would like for you to do is to describe to me that the cuts and gashes that you saw in detail. Everything you can remember.
Oh yeah, I'll see what I can do here. Fortunately, he's really good at being a butcher, as we're just discussing that he's the best one in town here. So it's not a 1 that I would have rolled.
The 15.
And I mean, as a skill check, it's, you know, a 1's not an auto failure, but you know, you're probably like, oh yeah, you know, it was a cut somewhere on its side, looked kind of like a, you know, a jagged this. Now he so because he is very good at his trade, he is able to go into specificity with where the, you know, where the cut was, or I guess the laceration. And so Celine, while you studied physiology from a medical standpoint, suddenly if the urge ever struck you to make bacon out of humanoids, you have all the butcher's lingo for, you know, so these are spare ribs, and these are flanks, and these are shank steaks, and these are skirt steaks, and suddenly you can look at all your friends in a whole new light as you're given a crash course in cuts of meat along mammals here.
Okay. With Celine's propensity for cutting things up, I think this fits.
So I'll tell you what, give me a medicine at advantage. You know, he did a good job of explaining, you know, beast physiology to you here in the disassembly, and let's see if you can reassemble it back in your own noggin here.
Oof, that's a 14.
All right, so a 14. You know, hey, you at least know where different cuts of meat come from, and you know you're not a veterinarian overnight, so to speak, but you get a really good idea, and it seemed like what was used was a large not even a knife, because what seemed to have happened is something cleaved into the side of this beast. And that's what felled it, and also apparently this was the same original hole that, you know, it was dressed. You know, all the guts were taken out of it and such. And so based on the descriptions, there were some rips, so that there was an initial gash. You know, think kind of like a little lightning bolt look, but
Yep.
the along the side of this thing. There was even more of a tear, almost as if so you had the original hole, as if it was torn from the side to increase the raggedy split along the beast. So something big and heavy made just sort of like a jagged slash into the side of the beast, and then something ripped the wound open further from there.
Now, I do know that Celine would have information, like she would remember that Tazray was the last one seen with Tibber. And given the time that they spent together, she'd probably also remember that he used an axe.
Yes.
Do you reckon I could make an insight check to try and piece all of that information together?
Insight, no, but I would allow an investigation at advantage, because I think you have a lot of clues here, to, try and Sherlock Holmes this all together.
Yep, I'll try an investigation at advantage. Mordecai, if you're willing to dump a bardic inspiration on this, I could really use it, because there is a 0 here!
Inspiration coming your way.
That's a D8, yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so I will try that. Oh, well, looks like I don't need it!
You still have it for 10 minutes?
I still have it for 10 minutes. At the next check, I'll probably use it.
Okay. So Mordecai starts humming a little song about, I guess, something.
Just kind of humming to himself a little bit.
Lightening the mood.
Working out a song in his head.
Maybe something about death and destruction. Maybe something Jade will like.
But with a 19 on investigation, which having a 0 modifier, that's a pretty decent roll. Celine,
really lucky.
You can speak with confidence that you feel Tazray must have been here, killed the animal, and drained its blood. Now, there's a lot of blood in a cow. And the way the butcher was talking, there was almost nothing, at least nothing really of note that was left over. What I will allow now, because you did very well on your investigation, is now you can make an insight in order to try and, you have all this evidence. Now let's try and come up with a motive. So you can make an insight here. Okay.
I will use the D8 for this too.
Sure.
Because I've got it. That's a 22.
All right, so Mordecai's song is really in the early stages here. He just sort of has, he just has a couple bars or something, and he's humming. Or it's like the song everyone's trying to remember in
mental notes.
It's that song everyone's trying to remember in Cromartie High School, if you know that anime. They're all trying to figure out a song off of a hum. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a great, funny. Anyway, all right. So you know what though? Even with the 1, you have an epiphany about what you think is happening. Now, that said, you're in this room, Mordecai is here, obviously, the butcher is here. How do you want to handle your revelations? Do you want to put them out here with the butcher present? Do you want to step outside? Do you want to bring it back and, throw your idea out to the others at the Tumbled Wench?
I'll probably keep it to myself. It's like, I will keep the revelation to myself, but I will tell the butcher is this. It's like, from your description, what seems to have happened is that someone of extreme strength has broken in here, taken to the cow with an axe or some other kind of hacking weapon, and then used their hands to tear the wound open.
That's ridiculous. Not even a Dragonborn could do something like that.
It's like, it may sound ridiculous, but there are people in this world who have access to a primal rage that gives them unnatural strength.
Well, look, there's not a lot of dwarves in Mesomaska, and that thing was far too tall for one of them.
I'm not sure who did it, but from the description, that's what looks like happened. As for the blood, I can't say. Maybe they drained it into buckets and took it away for some reason.
Oh, you know what? There's a cult going around. I heard it from an official source. There's some kind of a blood cult going on. And he actually, and Mordecai kind of looks over to you. I was really concerned for a while, but I was told that you're just on a weird diet, not necessarily a cultist. Is that true?
Yes.
You aren't in a cult, are you?
No, Never.
No, he is not in a cult.
All right. Well.
But as for the blood, I can't really say. But thank you. This is. I hope that I've given you a little bit of closure as to this weird occurrence.
I suppose so. It was a bit of a mixed basket today. I mean, I sold everything that I had, and all I had to do was sell something a little cheaper than I would have normally.
Well, sometimes that is the way. That is the way that business goes sometimes. But I will not take up any more of your time, so I will let you get back to your butchering. Mordecai, shall we?
After you.
And Selena likes it.
And follows.
Okay.
And they're just gonna head back to the tumbled wench, I'm guessing.
Okay. So now we are around 4 p.m. or so, and everyone is back in the tumbled wench. And conveniently, you all are in your penthouse suite up above, and you all have any sort of snacks, drinks. You've used the indoor plumbing for a bath or for toileting. The novelty of which is absolutely amazing, and you know, I'll leave it to you to wonder why the water spins in the direction it does. So
it's weird. I've noticed that Celine's toilet spins the opposite way from the rest of ours.
It's a gravity thing.
Gravity?
Maybe
That's a
it's 'cause
spell,
she's
isn't it?
Lacuna.
Maybe.
Could I swipe like a cup or a bowl to put Herbert in?
Yeah, you're in the penthouse suite. They will, you know, if it's kind of an unusual request, they're fine as long as it's not too far out there. And if you ask for like a teacup or yeah, like a soup bowl, that's fine.
Yeah.
So they'll bring one up.
I'll put Herbert in there and give him a little bit of water.
Okay. All right. So Mordecai, when you and Celine come back, there is one of these plants that were savaging you on the streets. A juvenile form that's in a soup bowl on the table. Noralai is there. Jade? And
Jade is simply following along at this point, sticking with the group. Primarily Bright, who's carrying the apple.
okay, then Jade is sitting next to Bright, and Bright is
I've
here.
given Jade a couple of apples throughout the day, so maybe I'm out of those by now.
Okay.
I mean, if I was gonna just lead her along, it would obviously be a carrot on a stick.
And so here we are. You are all together, and this is your chance to reconnoiter, to share information. And obviously, there's a little bit that'll have to speak through your mouth, Mordecai, with some rumors. And Celine, I can speak through your mouth for, you know, your grand. I put it all together and all of this, and I can do that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, so basically, once everyone's together, Celine is just going to look to Mordecai and say one word and one word only. Tazray.
I had a thought, but it wasn't clicking.
Well, at least we know he's here in the city.
That concerns me.
What about Tezri?
He's been to town, and apparently has feasted on an entire cow. The blood, anyway.
Huh.
You should just go for pancakes. They're very filling.
I wish. Don't tempt me. Please.
Now, Noralai, don't tease the poor man.
Maybe they make blood-flavored syrup. So, did you... Because we went to the butcher's today, and they seemed to be kind of fishy. It seemed like they had too much... Like, they had too much blood unaccounted for.
that would account for it then.
Yes.
So you think Tezray drank a whole cow worth of blood?
Seems like it.
Well, from what
That's
the
a lot
butcher
of blood.
told from what the butcher told me, the cut that was left is reminiscent of an axe hack,
Oh,
and then the wound was torn open further.
does sound like Tezray.
Now this is a cow we are talking about.
So that's a bad sign because it means that we've kind of been on a little bit of a wild goose chase. These aren't the vampires that have Tiba. This is just Tezray. And I mean, we need to find him too, but I mean, it wasn't really helpful. Maybe,
Give me just a second.
I mean, maybe Tezray has a way of finding the rest of the vampires, and he might be better at it than we are, and he might go back to that same butcher shop tomorrow, and so if we could catch him, maybe we could follow him.
That's an idea.
Or we can just keep taking Herbert around until he finds something.
We spent a lot of
Named the
time.
plant.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good name.
Name's Herbert.
No, I would like to bring up a little caveat to all this. As we know, Tezray has left a trail of carnage in his wake in terms of humanoids, but leaving the meat for the butcher is a weird thing. So,
He left those deer behind on the way.
yes, but
Trail of bodies of all different shapes and sizes.
it
'Cause he only
could
wants the
be
blood.
it could be that he might be intending to try to not be so bad by because he left it clean and ready to be butchered. Maybe he's trying to not be so bad, because he could have done anything, truly.
Sure.
I mean, he could have just taken the entire cow, because a cow is good eating.
That was really heavy,
It is very heavy, but this is Tazray we're talking about.
and it's still
Of
really
what
heavy.
good is the meat to him?
Speaking of meat, I should get this cooked.
Oh yeah, are you still holding the? Yeah. Okay.
I have a little bit of a stain on my clothes.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah,
It-
meat.
it's
Yes,
bothers
yes, you
me from the meat.
You should get that cooked.
That's
Take care of
true.
it, but it's going to have to do it carefully.
Yeah, Mordecai and Celine, you see that Bright has like a kind of a blood, like a meat juice stain on her dress.
I mean, you could prestidigitation that away, but that's rather
Yeah.
dangerous.
Wild
I-
magic.
Yeah, I need to go outside where there's nobody around in case my prestidigitation goes kerflooey.
Yes, I would very much rather not turn Jade back into a unicorn.
We can
Oh,
just
that's
do our
probably not gonna happen.
laundry normally.
Well, I'd rather not take my chances. Yes, we do have water up here.
That's true.
You are in a
So
penthouse suite.
I'll just take it outside where, in case things go wrong, it'll be safe. Because the worst thing that can happen is like a big kerfloof. But other than the kerfloofs, most of the things that can happen are fun. And also cantrips only even do it about half the time. So
Okay, so Bright wants to go for a walk and try and dry clean herself.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, trying to
Okay.
trying to get a hold of Tazray is kind of the next step, I
Jade
think.
continues to follow she who has the apple.
I probably would have left the apple behind for this. I would have left it with
Jade
Lorelai.
continues to follow the she who has the apple.
Okay. So
You've been
that's not
printed
me.
now.
That's
So
not
you've been
me.
printed now. That's the thing, you have been printed.
Ah, yes.
You had apples before, you must have apples again. Because
Okay.
unicorns don't know any differently.
So Bright, you feel a little bit of this magical like presence kind of clinging to you, but nothing seems to affect or to come into culmination as you use prestidigitation to get the meat juice off of your dress.
So do we want to try and find Tazray? Is that our next step?
Yes, that is our next step, but we need to be extremely careful.
Do we want to try and head him off? Or try to get a message to him?
I think we just need to encounter him. And we know he'll be out in the night, so we might need to go... It's tough.
He's a wild animal. He'll end up going after wherever the meat is. Right now, he's keeping it contained. How many cows do you think the butcher's going to end up having left? He'll return where the food is. But you have no idea where Jade is getting these apples. She just keeps reaching into your pocket and pulling out an apple for some reason.
I only remember bringing 4 apples. So...
That's number 8.
Just amazingly spawning apples. But, no, Selena's like, if we are going to go ahead with this, we must do so very carefully.
Yep.
And I mean very carefully. Tazray is
squid.
Hmm?
Who wants squid?
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 Yes. Jade proceeds to end up walking over the tavern. Doesn't bother placing the order, just starts walking into the kitchen.
Okay. The kitchen staff is staring at you. What? You're not supposed to be in here. What? Get out.
Squid.
We don't have squid.
Where do I find squid?
What? You would go to the ocean to get squid.
I don't have time to get to the ocean. Where do I find squid?
As you're demanding squid, and the one chef has turned around and is rather irate at you, you see that behind him, kind of rising up out of a boiling pot of water, is a tendril. And it still has like the bubbles and the steam and everything kind of going up through it. The chef doesn't know because he's looking at you. I don't know where you could get squid aside from going to the ocean. I might have someone come by at some point in time who's selling seafood, but I'm not expecting anything soon. One of the big cities would probably be the best place to go. Ma'am, why are you staring at me? Ma'am, I need you out of the kitchen, please.
I need squid. That is what needs to happen.
A second kind of tendril rises up out of the boiling pot and is just sort of, they're both sort of like in a helix, kind of like going around. And
Jade proceeds to walk past. Doesn't seem to acknowledge the chef. Just starts walking towards the water. Looks down.
Okay. The chef turns and is watching and finally sees what's happening in the pot behind him. What? And he jumps back and kind of, clang, 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 clang. A couple pans go clattering, and he can see these tendrils rising up out of his boiling water.
Jade stops for a second, realizing he just reacted to it. Turns. You can see it too.
Yeah. Maybe it's some wild magic. You best stay away.
No. It's not wild magic. Oh, no. She for a brief moment, starts to end up going towards the chef and just looks at him, looking over him. You've been blessed. Sure, Neruth sees you and lets you see him.
I don't know anyone by that name.
You damn soul. She places her hands on his head and kisses his forehead, like drags him by the hair.
Ah! And he gets to his feet, like more pans are falling, and he just sort of bursts out of the kitchen.
gotta be squid here somewhere. She starts to walk over to the near water.
Mm-hmm.
I need Squid to continue the task. I need to find Tazri. I need to put him in the ground. I need to take his eyelids and make him pliable. Find the tipper. Find the fiend's fangs. And
Oh yeah, so Selena's like, you can take. So Selena's like, you can take his eyelids now, Jade. I don't care.
I don't think Jade is here. I think she's in the kitchen.
Yeah, Jade left to go down to the kitchen.
Oh no, that was just an out of character thing.
Oh, okay.
That Celine might have mentioned to Jade at one point. It's like after finding out that Tazray was kind of crazy, she's like, you can take his eyelids now. I don't care.
all four?
Yes, all four of them.
All four sets, to be clear.
Yes.
They're lizard, remember. Inner eyelid, external eyelid.
Does anyone know why she wanted squid?
I don't know, but squid.
I like
now,
seafood.
please.
Squid is good.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's obviously not a unicorn thing. Where would it have come from?
That's... Your guess is as good as mine.
Maybe
I guess
Tiba
isn't
likes
very
squid.
good.
I'm not, well, see, this is why I'm just not going to question it, because that's a very dangerous line of questioning that could lead down a rabbit hole that none of us would ever come back from. So,
Yeah,
let's
but I
not,
like rabbits,
shall we?
so I wouldn't mind going down the hole.
Jade is currently conversing with the water.
Okay.
Trust me, Bright. This is a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. The rabbits aren't nice. The rabbits have tentacles, and will do horrible, unspeakable things to you.
I know. People are always grabbing me with tentacles. I've figured out how to deal with it.
That is exceedingly
How often does that
concerning,
happen?
right?
On that note, hello, Journeyman and 33 others who've come over for a raid. Welcome. You've come just in time. Oh, I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Well, I mean, I've seen enough H to know where this is going.
Yes.
Look, to be fair, for as much as Bright ends up having experience with tentacles, Jade is the only one who's had one to inappropriately insert themselves.
Very true. Very, very true.
Or appropriately, depending on taste. Or lack thereof.
Yes. PG.
13.
I can suggest it. I didn't say it.
Yep.
Kill me.
So Jade, the boiling water, can you say you're searching for a squid, and more of these tendrils start coming that are comprised of boiling water, and so again, all the bubbles are going up through, and it's emitting steam, and this thing just crawls out of the pot and begins like slithering across the kitchen floor.
Jade is chasing after it. She's going to pick up this skittering bunch of boiling water.
Okay. Oh, hey, Plague Doctor. It has been a while. Welcome to you. And, lethality. Yes, PG. Everything has been PG so far. We've been completely... I mean, it's like all those lewd minds thinking that I was entertaining Mordecai in a lewd fashion in the last butcher shop at the Cleaver Girl. All right, so...
It can be suggested. Remember, you can keep it PG-13 so long as it's only suggested at. Even if it results in a mortal bit of drowning.
All right, what
Yes.
I'm going to do is... there we go. That's the page I need. All right, so we are going to have a chase. as Jade is chasing a boiling tentacle monster through the streets of Snam Phi as it bursts outside the back door of the kitchen. And let's see. You have your quarry, and we have at least our one pursuer. Any participants that are not already in initiative order must roll initiative. Well, it's just going to be a heads up here. The chase ends when one side drops out or the quarry escapes. When the chase begins, determine the starting distance between the quarry and the pursuers. Track the distance between them. This is going to more or less be more like a skill challenge, where if you just get a number of successes before failures. Let's go. Chase participant can make attacks and cast spells against other creatures within range. So, yep, you can do that. You can also dash. All right, so here we go. We have... this is an urban chase complication that we're going to be facing. And so, let's roll. What your first complication will be as you burst out the back door of the kitchen chasing this boiling thing. We have a 4. Okay, so in the back alley behind the kitchen, there's a maze of barrels, crates, and similar obstacles that are standing in your way. I am going to need...
How about if I circumvent the check?
Oh? Oh, okay.
This is Jade we're talking about.
Sure. Okay. You feel this kind of like pool of something, but nothing happens. However, you do roll out and transform into your spider climb form. Which is what?
So...
Your limbs are backwards and your head kind of...
Oh, yeah. Her front body is away from it, and her hands are currently on the wall behind the back of her head. Her head's upside down and twisted as she starts to skitter around the wall, and just kind of like this... It looks like the human variant of 8-legged freaks, where she seems to be just jumping to the floor, crawling up the wall, jumping to the next wall, crawling just up and over to it. There is no stop in the forward momentum because floor is relative at this point.
Okay, that's fine. That is creative, and also you're willing to take the risk of casting magic here, so you do not need to make a check, and I will allow that. So you kind of like, you crash into the barrels, you're casting, and then you skitter up and you go down, and you're still on you're hot on the trail of this thing as it's leaving kind of like a steam trail. You continue on, and you're able to kind of dodge out of the way. People are looking at you like, "Aye," and are reacting appropriately here. When next, okay, someone is standing in your way, and I don't know, maybe it's a couple people here as you're going down. There's a beggar that's blocking your way. He's sort of like looking like, oh, what was that? And here you have spider climb, and what I will do is I will allow this to provide advantage, because in this kind of narrow confined place, because this little boiling elemental kind of like tried to duck into a very tight space here, you can make a strength athletics, dexterity acrobatics, or a charisma intimidation check of your choice to slip past the beggar.
I will kill as many people as I have to, as long as you are one of them.
Or if you have another 26. Okay, so... All right. So, yeah, so this poor beggar in this very, like, tight alleyway is looking at this boiling octopus thing that just already ran past, turns around and sees upside down, backwards, spider climbing Jade just come up, and is, she's trying to get out of the way, and he's there. She says this like in his face with that, look, this is no Spider-Man kiss where they're upside down and it's a very lovely moment. This is, I will kill as many people as I need to. And he just absolutely, like, he just falls to his knees, and he is emptying himself currently in this state as he drops to his knees, and you just skitter over him, like you're upside down and like skittering over him.
With any luck, he may be checking himself into an asylum in the next few hours. Not sure what he has just witnessed.
Next up.
Do I get that one for free because it's a natural one?
No. Well, it's on a 1 to 20 for what happens here.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing jumps and crawls across the back of a horse, causing it to scream out in pain as it leaves kind of this, like it's a boiling thing. And it rears up and it's in your path as you're still chasing after it. And in order to avoid getting hit by it here, you need to make an acrobatics check to get past this bucking, kicking wild horse that's been burned.
Is it on flat terrain at this point?
The horse?
Or is... Yes, I'm just wondering, like, so there's no walls or alternate, like, you just scamper right beside and... I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so
I'm going to be doing an acrobatics check.
This would be... Sure, you can make this at advantage because you may be able... Well... Yeah, you might be able to leap from one to the next. What's your strength score?
It's Jade the Swole.
I know, but it's also this party, so yeah, you could have the highest strength of the 9.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Gotcha. All right. Sure. You can make this at advantage then, in order to kind of like leap from one angle to the next. Because again, what is okay? So even with that, the horse ends up just like kicking you like right in the face with a hoof, and you are going to there's a 1. So you're going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage, and a little bit more distance is put between you and this something. The chase continues as we're going. We're making turns, and oh, okay. Nothing necessarily, it's a complication, especially for you, is going to occur, as it looks like it's climbed up the side of a building onto a roof. And so you can just very easily just skitter up and continue unless you want to do something. I'm not going to force you to make some sort of a check or to do whatever, but here you can narrate if you want to do something else besides just climb up after it. You can insert what you're doing here.
Jade's head is currently hanging, like the neck is broken as she ends up crawling up backwards up onto the roof. She has to end up catching it after all. Her jaw and neck and probably a good side of her face has been just caved in by the kick of a horse, and a little bit discombobulated and very, very upset because she needs to end up catching this thing. She needs to catch it, and well, at this point, this is the only thing she can do. So yeah, she'll just chase right after it.
Sure.
Though she is concerned that she's unable to find any way to gain ground off this thing. If anything, this is just a perpetual losing scenario in her mind, which is frustrating.
Okay. Well, I'm not baiting you to use magic or anything, but if you do have a skill or magic you want to use, you can certainly do so.
Please, we know Jade's useless.
I mean, says Jade the Swole, who's moved boulders and... okay.
Let's see here.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me check. Nope, I got absolutely nothing.
Okay. You climb to the top of this building, and you don't see this thing. And there are a couple, there's like a couple little chimneys and such at the top that are giving off steam, smoke, or just otherwise are sort of like emitting something here. So it seems like if the chase is still on, it might have turned into hide and seek. so nothing is jumping out. A horse isn't rearing up somehow randomly on the roof and kicking you in the face again. What are you doing here now that you're on the roof and you don't see this thing in an obvious location? There are several places it could be if you're looking for obvious signs.
Well, it's leaving wet, steaming bits along, so it's leaving a trail. If it hopped down a chimney, well, then there's the obvious or unobvious bit on that one. So yeah, I guess that is a. Do I really want to risk it? Yeah, I have to. Jade doesn't stop at anything.
All right.
Roll it.
Guidance. Here we go. Ooh. Ooh, I might give you a 2-for-1 here on this. This is
Just kill me, Matty. Just kill me quick.
Oh.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, we are currently in a wild magic zone, and there's a cumulative chance that every time a spell is cast, that wild magic will occur. So guidance will in fact go off, and I rolled a 100 on a D100, meaning that I feel like I can do something kind of fun here.
Critical wild search.
What's that?
Critical wild search.
I'm so glad I have my PHP open.
Alrighty, we're gonna give you. So guidance is gonna happen. And in this moment, you are in this high stakes, your emotion is running high, things are tense, you draw on magic because you want this thing so bad, you can taste it. Let's see here. I rolled a 29 and an 80 for those of you playing at home. All right. Hey, okay. All right. So you cast guidance on yourself. And so I presume that you're a willing creature and you're touching yourself for this. Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled. All right. Make the check that you would like. Is this perception, investigation, or something else? What are you going for?
I gotta end up going with perception.
Okay, go ahead and roll perception. 14. Not bad. All right. Jade. Let's see, how do I want to narrate this? You're looking and you're looking. You're searching, you're frantic. Like you can hear that, your heart is just this machine crank, 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 crank. And in this moment, where before, at breakfast, you were, your mind was turning, but it felt like something was missing. Something now seems to just click, and you see what you couldn't see before. And you can see where this thing is hiding. It did, in fact, go down one of the chimneys. And yet here you are on the roof, yet you are able to look at where this thing is, and you see that it's just sort of sitting there now in like a congealed like a congealed ball, still kind of like simmering at this point, like little strings of bubbles. In that moment, with your 29, you can teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see. You can see this thing now, as if you were there. Suddenly, poof! You appear right before it, and as that occurs as well, let's see. In an 80 was illusory butterflies and flower petals flutter in the air within 10 feet of you for the next minute. So hey, this is better than Nightcrawler, because when he teleports, he just leaves a sulfurous smell behind as he goes bamf. So arguably this is better, but you know what? In sort of Jade fashion here, we'll say that's like bugs and whatnot sort of emanate off of you, and yet these little like tendrils or frog tongues kind of like And so you're emanating bugs, but you're also like catching them and pulling them into you in this effect that otherwise would look very pretty. I'm not taking away the colors of flower petals and butterflies, but I am saying that bugs are flying off of you and your body's emanating like these tendrils or tongues that are lashing out, catching them and drawing them back as they still continue to try and flee from you.
I taste colors, and the schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
And this thing now is sort of like resonating, and you can see that this water blob is also sending little like hedgehog spike little tendrils similar to you as you're standing there. Meanwhile, behind you, there's a family that's Martha, get the kids to the bedroom, and they're shuffling and screaming going on behind you. I don't know if that really makes a big difference to what's happening here, but there are people screaming somewhere else in an area not in front of you. And this thing is just sort of like pulsing and resonating with you as you are emitting this sort of cycle.
Oh, don't worry. Jade will catch it. Jade will catch it.
And go ahead and try and catch it. How would you like to do this?
This is an athletics roll, isn't it?
It can be if you want to try and grapple it. You could try and subdue it. You could throw something on it. You could cast another spell if you really wanted to try and subdue it in some way. Physically, mentally, emotionally, or something. You have a whole bag of tricks.
Bag, you say?
Yes.
Depending on how wily you think, she's part unicorn right now and a little childish, so it seems to make sense, at least in her mind. So Jade will literally just grab hold of her ration bag.
Sure.
And we're just gonna see if we can trick this thing into slithering in. Because it probably doesn't want to go down. So.
Okay.
I'm hoping to be able to make a deception check on this one.
Sure. You're trying to convince it to go into a bag, and it probably doesn't want to. And, there's all this weird stuff happening. And it doesn't seem convinced. It's there, and it's getting really quivery, like it's about ready to just snap away here.
Okay, wait, I gotta dive for it then. Jade will dive down the chimney. This is how players die.
Oh, you're down the chimney. You saw like through the roof with this odd vision that you're having here. You teleported through the roof to it, and so you're in someone's house right now. You're in their kitchen, like over like their hood or their vent or whatever.
We got to grab hold of it. We have to. I really don't want to do this check, but I gotta.
Sure. 18 athletics. And doom, doop, 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 do 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 do. You caught it.
Burns. It burns so good. Why didn't I just try for the athletics right out of the front? I should have known better, Jade. The swole, right? I should have known better.
Yeah, Jade the swole.
The one thing you're not is what you actually are. All right, so you catch.
Sounds like something Jade would say.
You dive, and this thing is it is scalding and burning. I mean, it's not as boiling. It's still very hot though. So I'm going to. You take 9 points of fire damage effectively, as it's like burning and sizzling against you as you're holding it, and you feel the warmth starting to penetrate, and it's sort of like, it's like lashing, trying to get away from you as such. By the way, if anyone from Twitch is watching this is not self-harm. Please don't shut down my channel. I know, TOS 2018. This is not self-harm. I'm role-playing. Anyway. Yeah, so it's sort of like kicking, and then sort of as I did, the Pokemon animation, you got 3 shakes, and then it stopped. It disappears. Like, you caught it, and it just stops. In Jade, you feel it crawl into your eye and into your ear at the same time.
Earlier on, we were alluding to that inappropriate places for tendrils. Yep.
I mean, I gave you a wet willy, so. Oh, that's true. You can go back and Jade can sort of like, brag to Bright, even though Bright's like, this isn't a bragging contest. But yeah, so this thing slithers, through your tear duct and, through your ear canal, and, it sort of swirls around, and it sort of pulses a couple times in your skull, and then it stops moving.
Very well then. Jade is very confused. Looks around.
You better get out of my house! And there's a very angry man holding like a piece of wood in his hand. Get out now! I don't want to have to do this.
You're going to hit me.
If you don't get out, I will. I don't know what just happened, but I don't want any of this. It must be some of that wild magic. Why are you doing this to us?
We're both very confused right now. Both of us are on edge, and I can understand that. You want to protect your home and your family, and I can respect that. Jade starts walking. You say she's in a kitchen. She grabs an apple off the counter. So...
They're in season, apparently.
I will respect those wishes. If you do me a small favor, it's nothing big. You didn't see anything. Walks out with an apple in hand.
Okay. What do you mean I didn't see anything? I saw everything. I gotta tell the police about this.
Who'd believe you?
He's just sort of standing there thinking. But if you're leaving, then he's not going to stop you. But he's just sort of thinking about that. Oh, doggo! Okay, so Jade, I mean, you have some painful burns on your chest and face. But you know what? You have an apple. Everything's cool. It's a good day. Are you making your way back to the Tumbled Wench? Or are you going somewhere else?
Yes. Jade is going to the Tumbled Wench. She needs to go to the Tumbled Wench. Continue on. Why is she suddenly craving squid? Maybe there's some over at the tavern.
All right. Why don't we, I know we only have about a half hour left here, but if any of you need to take a break, why don't we take a quick one here, and then we'll come back, and, because you're broadcasting tonight, aren't you, Lethality?
What's up? Yes, I am broadcasting today.
Okay, so we have about a half hour left, right?
Yep. I'm sorry, I just blinked there very quickly for a second. I don't know what happened.
It's fine. Let's take I mean, if you need a little longer, that's fine. Are you good with 5, or do you need 10 minutes? And then we'll come back and we can...
Well, like, it depends on how long you need. Cause,
just a couple of minutes. I want to get a refreshed beverage and maybe pour some salsa into a bowl.
Yeah, 5 minutes should be fine.
Sure. All right, everyone, let's take 5 minutes. If you need longer for a bathroom or something, then that's fine. We'll come back and work with what we have, but it'll give us a little bit of a break, and then we'll power through the next section.
Hey, Matty, real quick question.
Yeah.
Completely off topic. Did you send out the mail?
Yeah,
Did you send out my order?
Yeah, your order should have been sent out.
Okay, because it hasn't arrived just yet. I was just kind of curious if you forgot to sail it out or not.
Okay. No,
Let's get some drink.
Yep, it should be good. I heard something that is the postal service up that way might be on strike or something, so I don't know if that's holding things up, but yeah, it should have been sent when you requested it, however long it takes to get up to you. All right, anyway, quick break and we'll get back to it.